Okay, so we are going to record this session, everyone. So just to let you know that that's happening, and everyone can see a presentation, I think. Excellent. Okay, cool. Excellent. So thank you very much. This is our second installment in the Lodges and Lairs Say Yes grant program. Last week we shared with you just a general information about what this grant was all about, what we were hoping folks would get out of it, and the general kind of things related to that. And this week we're talking a little bit more about what a plan looks like and how we're going to put those plans together. So the what is, we want to say yes to more youth. The idea with this grant is that it's going to help you build more spaces for beavers and cubs in your group or in your area, however that looks. Why? We know we have a tremendous demand, over 4,300 youths on our wait list right now. We know there's a demand, and not just that, but there's lots of communities out there that don't have scouting at all. So we want to make sure that we get more and more scouting into the hands of kids. The who, we really would love for this to be a volunteer-led, staff-supported initiative. We want to hear from the volunteers. We want to know what you think will work, what you need to make that work, and therefore then to carry out your plan. And we will be there to support you in building the plan, executing the plan, and supporting your plan and all that kind of stuff. And so the how, tonight is a lot of the how. Tonight we're going to show the hows of building the plan, talking about goal setting, making a budget, timelines, and then afterwards, starting next week, we have 2 live workshop sessions where we'd like for you to bring the plan that you're working on to the session, and we will workshop them together, which means we're going to, in a live environment, look at what you've written in your plan, offer support, offer some ideas. You might want to redraft things. You'll think about some other things, but that's kind of the idea with those as well. And please do reach out to your council teams and relationship managers for support and resources. I can tell you beyond the shadow of a doubt, most relationship managers will be very pleased to know that you're working on an awesome growth plan and would really want you to be successful in doing it. So they're probably very happy to help you along with that. So please do engage with them as well. Key dates. We are right now in plan building session 2, which is right now. And then next week, like I said, we will start the live workshops, one on May 1st at 12 noon. Followed by one on the 16th of May, 8 Eastern as well. Submissions formally open May 21st, and they will close on the 31st of May. But we do want to say, if anyone has something kind of ready to go, you're like, I've been working on this, I already know what I want to do, I really don't want to wait that long, I want to start working on it with this grant money right now. Do not wait, please send it to us. We would love to see it now so that we can help you get it in motion as soon as possible. And then if you are waiting until the end of submission period, they will be reviewed between the 1st and 13th, perhaps earlier, depending on how quickly we're able to get through them all. And you should expect a notification by the 14th of June. And then you get the money, you put the plan into action. The ask being that you need to continue to report back to the Say Yes team, which is pretty usual for most grant processes. We want to know how it's going, because we want to make sure that we want to see that plan in action. We want to see those things happening and know that, the things that we assume would happen and we're kind of really hoping to see happen are happening, or if we need to pivot and change things, and that's okay. But we just, the whole thing is we want to learn from this and we want to be kind of along to watch and see how things go. All right. So step 1. Step 1 is you're going to identify the goal. So you might already have an idea because you have a wait list in your group, or you know that you have to build additional capacity because of youth moving up from one section to another. Sometimes we have like 10 beavers all moving up to cubs at once, which means you have to open space because none of the cubs are moving up, that kind of thing. So it might already be pretty well defined for you, but even if it is, it's still wise to be able to put that exact thing in writing with some specifics. So you'd say, the need is, I need space in cubs. Well, when do you need space in cubs? How many spaces do you need in cubs? those are some important things to put in when we identify the goal. So it could be, you're, like I said, creating capacity, or you might be in a position to say, like, I want to start a satellite section because I know in the next town over, they have, there's a new community opening there, and I want to be able to ensure the kids that move here will have a space to have scouts. So that might be something you're thinking about too. But it's really a good idea to start by identifying the goal. So investigating. So this could be, you have the goal in mind. Like I said, I need to open 10 Cub spots for next year in order to take the kids up. It's really wise to have a really good sense of the things that could affect that goal for better or for worse, because what will happen is, as you're kind of working through it, you might find that I might need to change things, or I didn't think of that, or other things of that nature. And that might happen anyway, but it's always best to take the time ahead of time to kind of get a really good sense of what's happening. So one thing we actually use a lot of staff as well is the SWOT analysis, and that just stands for strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. And what we do in that analysis is we look at our group, whatever the thing is. So let's say a group strengths. Well, they have a really good group committee. We have a really awesome Beaver program. Weaknesses, we're going to lose our space. Or actually, that's more of a threat. Weaknesses, we don't have enough Cub Scouters right now, or that kind of thing. So kind of really putting in paper and then looking at it together. And please do this with other Scouters in your group, because they'll probably have some really cool ideas to add. Membership trends in a group and supporting groups, and surrounding groups is probably another good idea. Because then, you get a sense of like, how's it going in that town? How's it going? How has my group done the past few years? To get a sense of like how things are moving, and also other things like, I mentioned a new subdivision, but other things in your community that could affect how many kids live there, so those all good stuff to have when you're putting this together. Asking for ideas. That's a good idea. Ask, what do you guys think? This is what I'm looking at. What do you think? Discussing with neighbor groups, discussing with your RM, discussing with council. All of these things will help you get a better sense of your goal and putting that goal together. Rachel, I think it's over to you.
Okay. So next thing you need to do is begin crafting your plan. So you have your why, you know what problem you're ready to solve. And so we've put together a really easy template that you and your group can utilize to start thinking about putting all of the pieces together. Like, what are the tasks that is going to get you to your goal? So, Nikki, can you pull that up?
Yes, I can. Let's stop sharing this bad boy. Hang on. Give me a minute.
And this is a really simple one that you can take back to your group committee, your section scouters, whoever you're making this plan with. We've already seen a couple. It is a really simple template, but there's a lot of room for a lot of different tasks. Mm-hmm. And you might already have your own method of putting your plan together, and that's fine. This will just give you a place to start.
Okay, give me 1 second. I don't know why. Hang on, what's that? Bear with me, folks. The template is like Rachel said, it's it really helps you kind of distill all the things that you'll need to do to get you to point A to point B or X or Q or however many points you happen to have.
There's also a budget component, and okay, here we go. So it's really simple. So you want your project title, and that's actually more for the Say Yes team, myself and Nikki, when we're looking at the submissions. So for example, on our call on Monday, there were several groups from the same city that wanted to do a project. So the project title could be like London Satellite colony. You stopped sharing it there.
Oh,
Nicole.
shoot.
Oh, okay.
Do you have it again? Okay.
Yeah, it's up there now. And then your
Perfect.
project goal. So that's where you're putting the problem you want to solve in there. So we want to add a colony. We want to create 16 spaces with 4 scouters. So that's your goal. You identified your need. Your goal is 16 beavers for scouters for a new colony. And then you have your tasks there. So examples of a task would be to, well, recruit 4 scouters. How are you going to do that? Are you going to throw a parent engagement barbecue? Are you going to have invite your community out to your local conservation area and do a showcase of scouting? Are you going to, those are where your ideas are coming in, and what a description of that, and then who it's assigned to. I know that's a huge one, because I've already seen some of these come in where it's the same person that is assigned to every single task. Like, let's get your section together, let's get your committee together, let's do this as a team. And then you'll have your deadline. So if we want to open this colony by September, I'm going to assume that we want to have these volunteers recruited by, say, July, so that we can do some onboarding with them. Other tasks would be then to do some scouter development. So what's that going to look like? Is that part of your ask? Are you going to have a development day that you want to bring these new scouters to? Do you want to provide some incentives for them to get through their onboarding quicker? Are you going to do a drive for youth membership now that you have those for kids, for youth, for scouters registered? And what does that look like in your community? And what are the tasks related to that? Next, we just have our budget here. Now, we have pre-populated some of them, just coming out of some of the conversations that we've already been having with this project and program. So advertising costs, what does that look like? Are you, like we said, are you going to have a community event to advertise? Are you going to do some social media advertising? Printing costs, scouter uniforms, space rental. Where are you meeting? Are you meeting in a gym? Are you meeting in a conservation area? Are you meeting at a local camp? What does that look like for you? Equipment rental. Is there anything you need to rent to have your recruitment event? Is there anything you need to rent to have your community event? Supplies, program materials. Starting a new colony, you're going to need some materials. Travel expenses. Are you starting a satellite section where you're going to have to do some traveling to help set that colony up? Respect in sport. Are we able to pay for their PRC? Are registration incentives part of this? Training consultants. We've had some groups talk about some special needs and some special programs that they wanted to implement to be able to welcome more youth in there. And then, of course, miscellaneous, and we have extra boxes in there as well. And then the last part, because this is really simple, and it's to really help you not just do your planning, but like I said, assign somebody to it, have the due date, really work through it in a really concise way. But at the end, you'll see just a place for notes, and that's where you can give us some rationale behind your plan. So, we know what your goal is, we know what your tasks are, but why do you think this is going to work in your community? Why do you think us awarding you this grant is a great idea to try, and a little bit more rationale in there. And then, like we said, we have these 2 workshop sessions where we'll have some staff resources there, myself and Nikki, and then we can also give each other ideas. I have heard so many great ideas, and that is what the goal of this is. It's not, yes, we want your group to be successful, but we want your group to be successful and share it with other groups across your council, across your province, across your country. So we're really, really excited to hear about these ideas, make them as robust as possible, and keep sharing. So I think that's it for the template, Nick.
I had it. It's like it's right there, and then it just like is like nope. Okay, here we go. I was like sharing the screen of anyway, whatever. Here we go.
That's
Sorry.
Okay. So yeah, so come to these workshops. If you can't come to them, or even if you can, definitely reach out to your relationship manager, your group support scouter, your council team. They can help you refine these. They can help make them robust. Maybe ask some questions that maybe you haven't thought about. Just make it to the best that you can before submission. And definitely collaborate with network members. I'm assuming that everybody here is on the network. If you're not, please join. We do have a Say Yes subgroup on the network where there's lots of ideas. The Pillar 1 team has a great subgroup on there too, with tons of ideas for growth and for volunteer recruitment and for youth recruitment and just basic section and group health. Lots of great ideas. So collaborate with the network members, collaborate with your section scouters, and collaborate with your council team members. Nikki said it earlier, and I just want to reiterate it. Your relationship manager is looking forward to you coming with these plans. You know your community's best, you know your group's best, and so the ideas that you have, we want to help support, and we want them to be successful so we can share them across the country. And then yes, so submit the plan. So sorry, my dog is going. I don't know if you can hear that. I hope not. So you can submit anytime between now and May 31st. I think we had an official timeline of like the 21st to the 31st, but we have people come on and say, you know what, we're starting this project now. Can we submit now? Absolutely. You can definitely submit anytime before the 31st. You can submit tonight, tomorrow, anytime. Submit it in that plan, in that template. You can find the template on the network. I'm not sure if we're able to put it in the chat. If we can, we will, but if not, it is in the network. You can grab it there, or just email myself or Nikki. I'll add that into the chat. Like I'll add our emails in there, and we'll forward it to you. And yeah, let's come together. Like the more grants, the better. We want everyone to be successful, and we're ready to help. So does anyone have any questions or any ideas they want to share?
Yeah, I have maybe a quick question, more just trying to sense at what we're looking at. Is there a maximum? Is there a rough like guideline per youth or so, or is it truly the sky's the limit, and as long as you have a proper plan, we will review it?
I mean, we do have a limit for this program, but basically we're going to be looking at like a return on investment, right? Like, so if you are saying you want to throw a community event and it's going to cost you $5,000, but in the end your goal is to make 4 spaces, that's not a tremendous return on
Yep.
investment, right? So, there aren't a whole lot that we are not going to, or that we wouldn't fund. I think we discussed it in the first session. It has to be a good return on investment. We will not fund anything that Scouts Canada wouldn't normally fund. So say alcohol at an event, or I don't even know.
Yeah, no, it makes sense.
Probably it, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like if it's a
And this is
reasonable
for
ask, yeah.
junior sections
Mhm.
as well.
Mhm.
That's not saying if you don't have a tremendous idea for a senior section, sure, run it by us, but this is specifically for beavers and cubs.
Okay. Yep, understood. I got plenty of ideas, so I'll get to work.
Awesome. It's a quiet group tonight.
Mhm.
Anyone else have any questions or ideas that you want to just throw out there? We've had a lot of ideas so far.
Hey, Rachel, do you want to share some of the ideas that you've had so far? Maybe that'll get people's juices flowing here.
Sure. And I'm sure Nicole can as well. So we've talked about these community events. We've talked about parent engagement events. We have talked about perhaps some honorariums for people to come help, like rovers, to come help start a satellite group, that sort of thing, which was actually a really intriguing idea.
Mhm.
That we thought was great. We had another group that wanted to bring in some outside training and specialization for some youth with different needs in their group that would then welcome other youth into, or allow the Scouters to welcome other youth in their group. Space has definitely been something that is of need, larger spaces, space on a different night, that sort of thing. Volunteer incentives, like something along the lines of like a bring a friend for our Scouters, an event like that to showcase what the Scouters are getting out of it, a recruitment event, and then some incentives for our existing Scouters. If they're the friends that they bring, make a referral and become Scouters, there's incentives for that. Just different things like that.
Another, yeah, and on top, I think the other thing too is it's okay to try a couple of different things to get one thing. Like if you're thinking, I want to actually do this thing, and this thing to recruit volunteers, you absolutely build that into your plan. It doesn't have to be, and I would say like try and make like if you're like, because you have to think of like, if that doesn't work, I need a backup. And then if it works, then great, then you have extra volunteers. Like that's never a bad thing, right? So if you think of something and you're like, but I also want to try this, please use this to try those things, right? So we want to test out a lot of stuff. Actually, I have a little bit of a success story in that something we're piloting in Shining Waters, very, very closely aligned to what we're doing here, is satellite colonies, and they will be basically council supported at least for the first year. And so yesterday I sent out an email to all the parents on a wait list of like over 300 kids, beavers, just in one community of 13 groups. And the thing was, it's like, we will comp your child's registration for the rest of this year. I said, well, we're going to take you to a camp. We're going to take you camping one weekend. You're going to get a hoodie. Like, I just was like, what do people need? Like, what do they want? And we're going to do this and this and this, suddenly the lights just came back. And I got 2 people like overnight, and I'm like, oh my God, now I just need 2 more. Like, but that was like something, and these parents have been reached out before, many times, but this ask today specifically must have struck a chord somehow, and I don't think it would have been able to do it without this kind of thinking, like, what do we just need to remove? Just what do they need? You know, like, tell me. So, so I'm looking forward to that, but just really anything. Like, if you want to comp a kid's registration for the rest of the year, if you want to buy their uniform, what is gonna make it happen? It's not gonna, and the thing is, like, it might not necessarily work everywhere, but it might work somewhere. And it seemed to work. Like, maybe it was the hoodie. I don't know. I gotta find out. I'm gonna have to do a survey later. Was it the hoodie? I must know. Like, you know, some people love swag, so we'll see. But I mean, we'll see. They still have to go through the process, but I did get 2, and I'm like, oh, so I'm very excited for that. We'll see.
Well, we had a bit of a success story too, and you just reminded me of this, Nicole, about taking them camping. We helped funded a new group going camping, and they brought in their parents for the overnight, and it was, and they could bring whoever they want, grandma, grandpa, they you know, and did a bit of a showcase, and it was all free. It was free for the youth, it was free for the parents, it was free for the scouters. It was a huge success, and they got two new scouters out of that. So that just reminded me of it, the camping.
Mm-hmm.
And scouter development too. I know that a lot of the hesitation to opening some spots, because we're all different, right? Different places around the country have different issues that they're trying to solve. In Shining Waters, in Nicole's council, they have a huge waiting list. My council doesn't have a huge waiting list. There's a waiting list, but it's not huge. So a lot of that is more preparing for the future, because our geographical area is growing rapidly, but it's also scouter confidence. We have a lot of new scouters since reopening from COVID, and they're just not feeling confident in their programming. So if we were able to, you know, set something up in these groups to help that, then we would be able to bring in more youth and start growing that way. So different councils definitely have different needs on how we can grow and be prepared for growth too, if you don't have a wait list already. Put your hand up if your group has a wait list. Right. And is everybody here going to submit a grant proposal? Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Okay, perfect.
Awesome.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, this is gonna be, you know, you guys need to have like bragging rights for this too, right? Like, don't think about this too, even for your own scouter development. Like, this is a new different thing that we're, I mean, making a plan, is it? But like, in this kind of way and thinking about it, you know, I don't know in my history of scouting if we've done something quite like this, but I think that'll be kind of a neat thing to take part of it for, you know, scouter development wise too. Like, you know, and then you can use these tools that we're doing for this thing in the future and down the line too. So I think there's something to be gained, for sure. All right.
Well,
good.
if there aren't any more additional questions, I put mine and Nicole's email in the chat. Find us on the network and reach out to your relationship managers, your group support scouters, your council team. We're all here ready to support you. We're excited to hear your ideas, to fund your ideas, and then to share your successes. So thanks for coming tonight, and we'll see you in the next workshop.
Rachel?
Yes.
I'm just not sure if Dinesh just hasn't put his hand back down or if he does have a question.
Dinesh?
Yeah, actually, thank you, James. So, Rachel, you mentioned that you have funded in the past some camping events also, and the main idea was to woo the parents to join as scouters. So that was the main idea behind it. So is that something that that we can do for like a day trip? We are already, signed up for the Beaver birthday that's happening within the Battlefields Council, and it's been advertised to the parents because our group is just we just set up the group. It's been a little over a month, and we just had our second meeting yesterday. And so I feel that, people are hesitant to sign up. Maybe cost is an issue. It's a new group, it's a new community. And so I was thinking, because you mentioned, could we make that into a funding proposal so that we, subsidize those parents and they could come and spend the day and find out what scouting is all about. And then maybe at some point in time, we could, reach out to them that, how about you pitching in some volunteer hours?
Yeah, I think that that's a possibility for sure. I think that with that plan, there would definitely have to be a plan built in there, like definitely following up with the parents afterwards to make that ask, or make that ask beforehand. Like, look, we are looking for volunteers. This would be a great opportunity for you to come out and see what this is about, have a good time, etc. So you would have to like build the ask into just the funding. Does that make sense?
Yep, makes sense. Yep. Okay, thanks.
Well, thank you everybody for your time and your enthusiasm for this project. I know Nikki and I are super pumped about it. And we're here to support you. So reach out anytime. And thanks for joining us.
Yeah, thanks
again.
to both of you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks,
you.
everyone.
Bye
Have
now.
a good night. Take care.
Thank you.